They did not hold back.
Now, tell me exactly what it is you're afraid of.
I keep having the same dream. Everywhere I look, people are being replaced.
Okay, and who do you think is going to have you replaced?
Then, the puppet masters. The last time I had the dream, I was walking down the school hallway. And then I see Butters, and he's like, "Hey, Eric, you want to see what my mom packed me for lunch?" And that's when I start to notice that something's wrong. Everyone I cared about has been systematically replaced. And finally, I want to scream, and I'm like, why are they replacing every single character with someone who is diverse? But then Kennedy's like, it's not our fault, it's because of Kathleen Kennedy. But then Kathleen Kennedy's just like, fucking make it Monday. And everyone in town is like, no, please, Kathleen Kennedy, stop ruining everything. But Kathleen Kennedy is all like, put another gay diverse woman in and make it more fucking lame. And the Disney stock just keeps going down and down and down. And then Bob Iger is all like, no, what's going on with my stocks? No, Kathleen Kennedy. Ah!
South Park is back, and they are not having it in their latest episode. Into the fray they go, straight for Disney's throat, calling out the company's obsession with swapping character races and genders, and they don't hold back. South Park turns Disney's woke checklist into a punchline, poking fun at the way classics like Snow White are being overhauled in the name of diversity, but with fans feeling more confused than impressed. South Park is saying what a lot of people are thinking. Is Disney really embracing change or just ticking boxes?
You know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no Prince or a different kind of Prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie, Andrew Burnap, great dude. It's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows?
South Park wasn't holding back. Oh no, they went all in their latest episode, joining the Pandaverse, coming out swinging at Disney's so-called woke culture, and the message is loud and clear: forcing diversity without creativity is a recipe for a disaster. The timing of this episode is perfect. It drops right as Disney's upcoming Snow White remake, starring Rachel Zegler, is already swimming in controversy, and let's just say Zegler didn't do herself or Disney any favors with her comments. Zegler stirred the pot when she criticized the original 1937 Snow White, saying it was all about a guy who literally stalks her. She called it weird and said the new version would not focus on romance because, you know, we've evolved. According to her, the film is going in a completely different direction despite the presence of a male co-star, Andrew Burnap. Well, fans online weren't exactly buying it, and South Park decided to double down with their own version of the mess.
Eric, it's okay. It's okay.
I had a dream that I was replaced by a diverse woman.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, only this time, it wasn't just me. They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the patriarchy. Will you check under the bed and make sure there's no Disney executives under there?
I promise there's not.
I'm scared, Mom. Will you please just look and make sure Kathleen Kennedy...
In joining the Pandaverse, Eric Cartman has a nightmare, one where his favorite characters have been replaced by diverse women who won't stop complaining about the patriarchy. Cartman wakes up in a panic, ranting they were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the Archie. It's South Park's way of saying this is a progress, this is pandering, and it perfectly captures how many fans feel about Disney's recent projects. And when Cartman quips, and the Disney stock just keeps going down and down, ouch, that hit harder than a Bob Iger quarterly report. The episode doesn't stop there, it roasts Kathleen Kennedy and her role at Lucasfilm, with Cartman bluntly blaming her for why all the Disney movies suck now. South Park goes full savage, portraying Disney executives scrambling to pander harder to fans using a magical pander stone as a jab at how Disney seems to rehash old stories with surface-level changes to appeal to modern audiences. Kennedy's character keeps repeating the same note. Put a chick in it and make her lame and gay. It's brutal, but it nails the feeling many fans have about Disney's recent attempts to update their films and franchises.
The problem, people?
We were just discussing ideas of what to do with the new Prince Eric movie.
Put a chick in it, make her gay.
Maybe we should go a different route than we did with Indiana Jones.
Fuck Indiana Jones, put a chick in it and make her lame and gay.
Sure, yeah. Well, let's try that. Again.
Kathleen Kennedy is down on set right now, ruining the new Bambi movie.
Bambi's a baby deer.
Fuck baby dear, put a chicken in, make her gay!
We've sent her away to have lunch at Spago. There you are, Miss Kennedy, the linguine and clam sauce.
Excuse me. I believe I asked you to put a chicken in and make her gay.
Yes, the chef was a little confused what you meant by that.
Means put a chicken in a linguine and make her fucking gay! And I want it lame! Where the fuck is Bob Iger?
Mr. Iger just had to take some of the others to a screening.
I think that things are being kept from me, and if you're going to keep things from me, then you'd better put a chicken in and make it fucking gay.
And don't think Miles Morales escaped the conversation either. In one hilarious exchange, when someone accuses Cartman of not liking any diverse characters, the kids fire back, "No, Miles Morales is sweet. That's a whole constructed thing with its own character and narrative." This is just taking Cartman's same old Cartman and putting a black woman in it, boom. That's the point South Park is making. Diversity is awesome, but lazy, forced storytelling is not. The episode also takes shots at Disney's big flops, like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, even though Harrison Ford wasn't technically replaced by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. South Park highlights the frustrations of audiences who feel that Disney keeps adding diversity just for the sake of it. Fans aren't against new characters, they just want good stories, and South Park characters say what a lot of people are already thinking, and oh boy, the internet ate it up. Elon Musk jumped on it with 2 laughing emojis, calling the episode timely. Meanwhile, Gina Carano, who was famously fired from The Mandalorian for controversial tweets, took the opportunity to unload on Disney again in a long-winded rant on X, formerly Twitter. She mockingly imagined Kennedy trying to censor South Park while gathering a mob to call the creators racist bigots and transphobes. Yeah, South Park clearly hit a nerve, but what really stands out is how South Park doesn't just go after Disney, it also skewers the anti-woke crowd toward the end of the episode. Kennedy's character admits that using the Pander Stone to fight all bigotry through lazy remakes was a terrible idea. "All I ever wanted was to make great entertainment," she says. But when the hate mail starts piling up and everyone's calling you the C, you kind of lose your way. Cartman even owns up to his part in the chaos, saying, "I'm sorry I wrote all those letters." I guess just railing on woke stuff all the time is pretty lazy too. At the heart of it all, South Park's message is clear. Real representation goes beyond just switching up characters, it requires actual creativity and thought. Simply swapping faces or identities without building new compelling stories isn't progress. It's just lazy, and both Disney's executives and their most vocal critics are guilty of taking the easy way out with joining the Panderverse. South Park makes a bold statement calling out Disney's reliance on shallow representation while also poking fun at those who attack diversity just for the sake of it. The result is a hilarious, brutally honest episode that feels like a gut punch to Hollywood's current culture war.
For that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. Super weird. So we didn't do that this time.
Disney's live-action Snow White remake has become the latest flashpoint in the debate over Hollywood's woke agenda. What was once a beloved fairy tale is now the center of controversy thanks to the studio's efforts to modernize the story, and the backlash has been brutal. The trouble started when Rachel Zegler, who plays the new Snow White, shared some less than flattering opinions about the original 1937 film. She dismissed it as outdated, saying the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so, there's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird Zegler went on to explain that the new version would be different, focusing less on R and more on Snow White's independence and leadership. "We didn't do that this time," she said. Referring to the prince's role, she added that despite casting Andrew Burnap as a new male character, it's not a love story instead of drumming up excitement for the film. Ziegler's remarks triggered a social media firestorm. Fans and critics alike accused Disney of fixing things that weren't broken and forcing modern sensibilities into a classic tale. Meme posts and heated debates flooded platforms like X, formerly Twitter, with many saying the studio was more concerned with pushing a progressive agenda than telling a good story.
Original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again.
A lot of people will be shocked to know that my favorite Disney princess growing up, it was Ariel, no lie.
I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures.
She had a lot to do with the fact that I wanted to learn how to swim and be in the water all the time.
Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again.
So when my sister and I and my brother, we would be in the pool, we would just pretend to be mermaids. Yeah, it was the best thing ever.
I had no idea what I was auditioning for when I auditioned.
Actually auditioned for this role when I was 18 years old, and I'm turning 23 this year, and it's now coming out. So it was a wild journey for me, but I was really excited.
So I watched it for the first time in probably 17 years when I was doing this film.
I was breaking barriers along with her when her character was breaking barriers.
The reality is that the cartoon was made 85 years ago.
I truly felt like I was breaking out of my shell that I had been in for so long.
It's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power.
Ariel is so fiery and passionate about what she wants for herself and her future, and I truly felt like, you know, she's telling me, you can do it.
and what a woman is fit for in the world. And so when we came to reimagining the actual role of Snow White, it became about the fairest of them all, meaning who is the most just.
It was just a really funny experience.
And who can become a fantastic leader. And the reality is, you know, Snow White has to learn a lot of lessons about coming into her own power before she can come into power over a kingdom.
It was really special. I truly feel like we deserve that kind of.
In contrast, Disney's previous live-action adaptations, like The Little Mermaid, featuring H. Bailey as Ariel, saw some backlash, but nothing compared to the uproar over Zegler's comments, while Bailey faced criticism primarily focused on race and casting choices. She managed to garner significant support, with many fans celebrating the representation and eagerly anticipating her portrayal. Bailey's responses to her critics were generally gracious and focused on the importance of representation, which helped deflect some of the negativity. However, Zegler's approach in interviews has often backfired. Her comments about the original film felt dismissive and have placed her firmly in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. The fact that she has openly criticized the classic material she's now part of has made her a lightning rod for criticism, overshadowing the film's promotion itself. Enter South Park, never wanting to miss an opportunity to roast cultural controversies and joining the panday. Cartman's dream of his world being overtaken by diverse women complaining about the patriarchy is a direct shot at remakes like Snow White. The episode suggests that audiences don't mind diverse representation, but they do mind when it feels forced or shallow. The episode captures how Disney's approach to remakes has alienated many fans with the Snow White controversy. The show essentially asks, why does every beloved story need to be rewritten to align with today's standards? Even if well-intentioned, these changes often come across as awkward or disingenuous, leaving fans frustrated. Zegler's comments about the prince being a stalker particularly set off alarm bells. To many, it felt like she wasn't just offering a new perspective, she was disrespecting the legacy of the original film, one that generations grew up loving. Fans argued that the original Snow White was a product of its time, and rewriting it entirely misses the point of a remake. It's supposed to honor the past while introducing new elements, not dismantle it. The backlash also ties into a broader frustration with Disney's repetitive remakes of animated classics, from The Little Mermaid to The Lion King. While some have been praised for diversity in casting, many have been criticized for lacking the magic of the originals. South Park perfectly sums up this sentiment with the episode's fake Bob Iger telling his executives to just pander harder. This moment highlights the perception that Disney is more focused on ticking boxes than making meaningful entertainment. The Snow White controversy reflects this perfectly. What could have been an exciting reimagining has instead become a lightning rod for criticism. Even Zegler herself became a target of the backlash, with users flooding social media, calling her comments arrogant and tone-deaf. Some said she seemed more interested in condemning the original than celebrating her role in bringing a beloved character to life. others questioned whether she was even a good fit for the role, both in terms of appearance and attitude, fueling further outrage at the same IME. Disney's strategy reveals a deeper challenge: how to appeal to modern audiences without alienating longtime fans. With Snow White, the studio seems to have missed the mark. Instead of striking a balance between old and new, they risked erasing what made the original special in the first place. The South Park episode hits on this exact frustration. It asks what happens when storytelling takes a backseat to messaging, and more importantly, what does it mean when audiences stop trusting the intent behind a studio's creative choices? Disney's struggle with Snow White is emblematic of this larger cultural divide. A battle between modern values and nostalgic storytelling that shows no sign of slowing down. If anything, the Snow White controversy and South Park's scathing satire reflect a growing sentiment among audiences. It's not about diversity or progress. It's about authenticity. Fans want stories that feel genuine, not ones that feel like they were put through a checklist of socially acceptable themes. Ultimately, Snow White is just one chapter in Disney's ongoing challenge with its remakes and reboots, but with fans growing increasingly vocal and sharp critiques like,